To begin where we left off in part 1, I began by cutting the drawer parts to their final width. Once the widths are cut, then I need to cut the individual parts to their final length. Once the drawers are cut down to their final length, I need to cut the rabbets for the drawers joinery. Once the rabbets are cut, I can cut the individual sides for each drawer. Once the sides are complete, I can go ahead and do a test fit and just see how everything is going to come together. Looks pretty good. Next, I need to cut a groove in each of the drawer pieces, which will hold the panel for the drawer bottom. Okay, as you saw, once I got all my parts measured for the drawers and cut out, I went ahead and cut a groove in all 4 drawer pieces for each of the drawers to accept a 1/4 inch piece of birch plywood. And that's what's going to be the bottom of the drawers because the inside is going to get covered with felt. What I need to do now is sand all the parts and get the drawers glued together. That way we can get them inside the box. Once they're inside the box, I can lay out my marks for my hardwood runners. Get the grooves cut in the side of the drawers, get the runners installed. Once that's done, then I can start working on the drawer fronts as well as the lid. Now the box lid is going to receive some inlay as well as some additional banding in it, and we'll look at that when the time comes. Let me go ahead and get this done. I'll be right back with you. While the boxes for the drawers are gluing up, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the drawer fronts. They're going to be made out of walnut. I want to go ahead and start processing the boards and getting things cut down to size because it's just going to be a matter of getting the drawers in and the running guides and all fitted and everything, and then attaching the drawer fronts. So while I have some time to kill and waiting for this glue to dry, I'm going to go ahead and start processing the fronts and get them ready to go as well. To make the drawer fronts, I take the walnut board and rip the parts down to their final width. Once all the parts for the drawer fronts are cut to their final width, I need to go ahead and cut the individual parts to their final length. Once I have all the drawer fronts done, I need to go ahead and cut the false panel that'll make up the front of the top of the box as well. Once it's cut, I can go ahead and route the profile. Now I'm just using a classical bit profile for the edge of these drawer fronts just to give them a little decoration. I start with the end grain cut first. That way if there's any tear out, it'll be cleaned up on the next pass. I continue this all the way around each of the drawer parts. Once complete, here's a look at how they'll lay out on the box. Alright, I've got the drawers done and placed in the box. I've got the drawer fronts complete. Now as it stands, I could leave the box as is and go ahead and put the hardware on and just have a contrasting colored box with a walnut body with pecan drawers just to give that contrasting color along with the pecan inlays and everything, and just start working on the lid. But I went ahead and made some walnut drawer fronts that will be attached to the individual drawers. And on those drawer fronts, I just went with a classical edge forming bit, you know, to give it a little bit of a profile. And that way, everything will blend nicely together. Then I can add the hardware, and the hardware will really stand out from that walnut. Now what I need to do before I attach the drawer fronts is I got to go ahead and mark and lay out and get those runners in And once the runners are in, then I can attach the drawer fronts and start working on the top of this lid. And the top of the lid is what I'm really anxious to get to, because I've got some inlay work to do on that as well. I'm going to do some inlay banding and then some, you know, additional router inlay, such as the sides with a little bit different design on the top. So I'm really anxious to get into that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the runners in. I've already got everything cut down for the runner material. Now I just have to do some final cuts, get them installed, and then make the grooves in the sides of the drawers that are going to run on the runners. So I'll do that now, and then we'll get rolling and get this box wrapped up. But so far I'm happy with the way it's coming. It's a beefy box. Somebody had pointed out, I took a picture of it as I was, you know, beginning to it started to take shape and everything, and someone was like, wow, that's some thick wood. And it is. I've got 3/4 inch sides on this, and you know, for a typical jewelry box, the sides usually run, you know, maybe 1/2 inch or 3/8, 5/8, you know, just depending on the size of the box and everything. I want this to be a beefy box because it's not, it's going to be a jewelry box, but it's going to be a masculine jewelry box. And it's not even going to hold jewelry. I've got other plans for this box, and it's going to hold some other things, and we'll talk about that later. All in all, I'm happy with it. It's stout, and I really can't wait to get those feet and knobs and hinges and everything on, and just all the different colors is really going to look nice, so I'm happy about that. And you know, once again, thanks Rockler, I appreciate you sending that over to me to you know, use on this particular project. So let's get this ball rolling. Let's get these guides in and get these drawer fronts on, and really get this box to take some serious shape and start looking like more of a finished piece. And then I can jump on those inlays and get them done. So let's move on. I need to cut the runner grooves on the side of each drawer. I simply do this on the table saw by making multiple passes. Once complete, I test the fit on the hardwood runners inside the jewelry box, and I continue to make my cuts until I get a nice fit and the drawers slide in and out with ease. When it comes to the drawer fronts of the box as well as the false front, I want to temporarily attach the drawer fronts on each of the drawers in the alignment and position that I want, so that I can mark them out and of course permanently attach them on and glue them on. And in order to get the alignment correct, I'm going to take some double-sided tape and stick on each of the drawers, and then temporarily adhere the drawer front to it, pull the drawer out, mark it out, and glue it on. There we go. Alright, start with the bottom drawer first. Everything looks good. So now I can go ahead and pull the drawer out. Got the front temporarily attached, and that way I can go ahead and mark out the drawer fronts and get them glued on in the exact position they need to be. Alright, while I was waiting for the drawer fronts to set up and everything, I went ahead and cut and glued together the panel for the top of the box. I made it oversized. I'll cut it down to its final dimensions in a minute, but first I'm going to get it out of the clamps and go ahead and clean it up a little bit, and then we'll get started on processing it to make the lid. I haven't decided on the outside profiles. I know the inlays and all that I want to use on this particular top. I just haven't figured out how to lay out the outer rim, you know, what kind of edge profile I want to use that'll complement the box. But we'll figure that out as we go along. For now I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this one up. this will give me a chance to use the bench vise that the clamp vise that Craig sent over to me to try out. And I tell you, I really like this thing. It does well. Holes in the top of my downdraft table, the center table, work out perfect for the bench dogs that come with this. Alright, so I've got my panel done. Like I said, it's way oversized for this box. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down to size. But first I want to go ahead and draw the outline of the final dimensions and lay out my inlays and see how I want them to go. Once I get those laid out, I'll pull the camera up close so you can see what I've come up with, and we'll go from there. I can get the clamps off of the box here. It's almost done with its little final glue up, and we'll be set to move forward.